Right now, something very strange is happening in the United States. On paper, the economy looks strong, growth numbers are positive, jobs still exist, and Wall Street keeps moving. But on the ground, millions of Americans are asking the same question every single day. Why does life feel harder than ever? Why does everything cost more while paychecks feel smaller? And why does the future feel so uncertain even when the headlines say the economy is doing fine? In today's video, we're breaking down what is really happening in the US economy right now, what the government is saying, what people are actually feeling, and where this could all be headed next. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this moment is so important and why the next few months could change everything. Before we go deeper, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want clear, honest updates about what's happening in the United States. This is the US Report, and our goal is simple. No hype, no confusion, just real stories and real explanations that actually make sense. If you care about your money, your job, and your future, you'll want to stay with us. Now let's talk about today's US economy. Over the past year, Americans have been told again and again that the economy is improving. Inflation has come down from its peak, unemployment is not exploding, and the country has avoided a major recession. But here's the part most people feel in their daily lives. Prices are still high, housing is still expensive, groceries cost more than they used to, and interest rates are making everything from cars to credit cards harder to afford. So even though the economy hasn't collapsed, it also doesn't feel like a recovery for most families. One of the biggest reasons for this tension is interest rates. The Federal Reserve has kept rates high for a long time in order to control inflation. The idea is simple. Higher rates slow spending, slow borrowing, and eventually slow down price increases. And to be fair, inflation has cooled compared to the worst moments. But high interest rates also come with pain. Mortgage rates remain elevated, which means buying a home is out of reach for many young families. Car loans are more expensive, credit card debt is growing fast, and people are paying more just to stay afloat. This creates a situation where inflation may be easing, but financial stress remains very real. Jobs are another confusing part of the story. On the surface, the job market looks stable. Companies are still hiring in many sectors, and unemployment is not at crisis levels. But if you look closer, the picture changes. Many of the new jobs being added don't pay enough to match the cost of living. Full-time positions are sometimes replaced with part-time or contract work. And layoffs, especially in tech and corporate roles, have made workers feel insecure. People may have jobs, but they don't always feel safe in those jobs. And that fear changes how they spend, save, and plan their future. Consumer confidence is a major warning sign right now. When people feel good about the economy, they spend money, take risks, and invest in their future. But when confidence drops, everything slows down. Right now, many Americans are pessimistic. They worry about rent, healthcare, education costs, and retirement. Even people who are doing okay financially feel like one mistake, one medical bill, or one layoff could push them into trouble. This emotional side of the economy is something numbers alone don't capture, but it matters more than ever. Let's talk about inflation in a real-world way. Official data may show that inflation is lower than before, but prices rarely go back down once they rise. Groceries that doubled in price don't suddenly become cheap again. Rent that went up stays high. Insurance costs keep climbing. So when people hear that inflation is under control, it doesn't match their lived experience. They are still paying more for basics, and that creates frustration and anger, especially when wages haven't kept up at the same pace. Housing deserves special attention. The U.S. housing market is one of the biggest pressure points in the economy right now. High mortgage rates mean fewer people can buy homes, and limited supply keeps prices elevated. Renters aren't safe either. Rent remains high in many cities. And competition for affordable housing is intense. This traps many Americans in a cycle where they can't save, can't buy, and can't move forward. Housing is not just a market issue, it's a quality of life issue, and it affects how people feel about the entire economy. Another major factor is debt. Household debt in the U.S. has reached record levels. Credit cards, student loans, auto loans, and medical debt are weighing heavily on families. High interest rates make this debt even more expensive to manage. Many people are not using credit to get ahead anymore. They're using it just to survive. This is not a healthy long-term situation, and it's one reason economists worry about future slowdowns, even if the economy looks stable today. At the same time, Wall Street often tells a very different story. Stock markets can rise even when everyday people struggle. Large corporations may post strong profits while cutting jobs or raising prices. This creates a disconnect that fuels distrust. Many Americans feel that the system works for a small group at the top, while everyone else is left dealing with higher costs and fewer opportunities. That feeling, whether you agree with it or not, shapes how people view the economy and the country's direction. Government messaging also plays a role. Officials often focus on avoiding worst-case scenarios, like a recession or a financial crash. And it's true, the U.S. economy has shown resilience. But resilience doesn't mean comfort. It doesn't mean fairness, and it doesn't mean people feel hopeful. When leaders talk about strength while families feel squeezed, it creates a credibility gap. People want honesty, not just reassurance. Looking ahead, the big question is what comes next? Will interest rates finally come down enough to give people breathing room? Will wages rise in a meaningful way? Will housing become more affordable? Or will the economy continue in this strange middle ground where it doesn't break, but it also doesn't truly heal? Much depends on upcoming economic data, policy decisions, and global events that are out of anyone's control. What's clear is that this moment matters. The choices made now will shape the economy, not just for the next year, but for the next decade. Younger Americans are already questioning whether traditional goals like homeownership and retirement are realistic. Older Americans worry about savings and healthcare, and everyone feels the pressure of uncertainty. Understanding the economy is no longer just for experts. It's become a survival skill. Here on the U.S. Report, our goal is to help you see the full picture, not just the headlines. The U.S. economy today is not a simple success story or a total disaster. It's a complex, uneven reality where growth and struggle exist at the same time. Recognizing that truth is the first step toward making sense of where we are and where we might be going. As we wrap up, I want to hear from you. How does the economy feel in your daily life? Are prices still hitting hard? Are jobs stable where you live? Do you feel optimistic or worried about the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because real experiences matter more than statistics. And if you found this breakdown helpful, share this video with someone who's also trying to understand what's really happening. That support helps this channel grow and helps more people get informed. Thank you for watching, thank you for being part of the US Report, and we'll see you in the next update.